Some hurts from family are like a clean break. They hurt, they heal, you move on. But this was different. This felt like a piece of shrapnel, lodging itself right next to your spine. You can live with it, but you feel it with every single breath. For me, that feeling has a sound, the faint, stiff crack of a book's binding. It's the binding of my dissertation. And it's the exact same sound my heart made the night my mother gave my life's work to my brother. You'd think a moment like that comes out of nowhere. It doesn't. It's not an earthquake. It's more like the ground slowly washing away from under your feet for years, and you get so used to the instability that you forget what solid ground feels like. Then one day the whole cliff just gives way. My entire life was lived in Alex's shadow, not a dark, scary shadow. It was a soft-edged, comfortable shadow for everyone else, one that just happened to blot me out. There was no yelling, no obvious cruelty. It was a quieter kind of violence, the kind that settles in your bones like a constant, low-grade fever. You always feel a little sick, but you can't point to a single wound. I remember this one afternoon in 10th grade so clearly. I was standing in the kitchen holding my report card. My palm was sweaty. I'd worked myself to the bone for an A- in AP Calculus. Nights with my textbook propped open, numbers swimming in my eyes, fueled by lukewarm tea. I finally got the courage to show my mum. She was at the counter, chopping onions. Thump, thump, thump. I held it out. She wiped her hands, glanced at it. Her eyes scanned right past my name, past the A-, and found his. "That's nice, honey," she said. Her voice was absent. The words just fell on the floor. And then, her whole face lit up, like someone flipped a switch. "Oh, look! Alex got most enthusiastic in JV soccer." That night, she bought a cheap plastic frame from the drugstore. His flimsy certificate went up on the living room wall. My report card, the proof of all my sleepless nights, got a pizza-shaped magnet on the fridge. By the next week it was gone. That was the pattern. My achievement was a chore to be acknowledged. His existence was a cause for celebration. So when I told him I was going for a PhD, her reaction shouldn't have surprised me. We were at that same kitchen table. She stirred her coffee, the spoon just clinking and clinking. "Are you sure?" she asked, not looking at me. "That's so much reading. It sounds so isolating." Then she looked up, a soft smile on her face. "Alex is smart in a different way, you know. A practical way. He just gets people." Which was her way of saying I wasn't, and I didn't. And for years I believed her. God, I swallowed that story whole. It became who I was. I was the difficult, intense one. Alex was the charming, effortless one. My struggles were my own fault. His small successes were proof he was just better built for the world. I wasn't a daughter. I was a project that needed constant adjustments. He was the finished masterpiece. And I think I loved him, I really did. But it was a strange, tangled love, conditioned by the unspoken family rule. My job was to make his light shine brighter. Those 6 years of grad school, they hollow you out. I was working 2 jobs. Shelving books in the library until midnight, the air thick with the smell of old paper, and slinging coffee at 6 a.m. I lived on instant noodles and the kind of exhaustion that makes your bones ache. The 1,000 miles of distance from my family should have been a relief. Instead, it just made the dynamic impossible to ignore. I remember calling home, my voice buzzing because my research proposal was approved. A huge hurdle. The conversation lasted maybe 90 seconds before I heard the pivot in Mum's voice. "That's wonderful, honey," she said, but I could hear her typing. Distracted. "Listen, you'll never guess what Alex did. He gave the most amazing toast at his friend's wedding. Off the cuff, everyone was crying. He just has a gift for words, you know? A gift for words." I was sitting at my desk, surrounded by stacks of books. I'd just written 10,000 words that week. Every single word had to be perfect, chosen to build an argument that could survive a panel of professors paid to tear it apart. And Alex gave a nice wedding toast. But the money was the ugliest part. There was a career-making conference. I was humiliatingly broke. After a week of panic, I called to ask if I could borrow $500. I hated it. My voice felt so small. The sigh on the other end of the line was heavy. Theatrical. "Oh, honey, things are so tight right now," she said. "We just had to help Alex with the down payment on his new car. You understand." I said I understood. Shame was burning the back of my neck. 2 weeks later, I was scrolling Facebook. And there it was. A photo. My parents, arms around Alex, beaming in front of a brand new gleaming black Audi. Mom's caption: "So proud of our boy. He works so hard and deserves every bit of it." I just stared at the screen. My phone felt cold in my hand. I read the words. "He works so hard" 3 times. My lungs just felt empty. That's when she started creating a new story for our relatives. My aunt told me, "Your mom says Alex is such a huge help with your schoolwork," she said on a call, "that you call him all the time for advice." I was stunned into silence. I hadn't talked to Alex about my thesis in years. He thought I was studying old kings and stuff. When I tried to correct Mom, she just laughed. "Oh, don't be so literal. I just mean he supports you." But it wasn't support. It was erasure. She was erasing me from my own story and handing the pen to him. The day I defended my dissertation, I felt real. The panel had passed me. 6 years of my life in a 300-page document that was undeniably mine. My mother insisted on a celebration dinner. Against my better judgment, a stupid, stubborn flicker of hope ignited. Maybe this time, I thought. This is big enough. This will be enough. The house was full. The smell of roast chicken used to mean comfort. That night it just made me anxious. After dinner, the clinking started. Mum, tapping a wine glass. My stomach turned to ice. She started well enough, talking about my long, hard road. I felt that stupid flicker of pride again. Then she turned. Her eyes, glistening, moved away from me and settled directly on Alex. But she didn't do it alone, she said, her voice thick with emotion. The room went quiet. Every time she wanted to quit, every time she felt lost, her brother was there. My mind just went blank. Alex spent countless nights on the phone with her, talking her off the ledge, giving her that creative spark. He was always the real storyteller in this family. In many ways, and here her voice broke perfectly, this doctorate is as much his as it is hers. She raised her glass. To my daughter, the doctor, and to my son, the inspiration. The room applauded. I saw a few confused faces, but they clapped. My dad's face was just pure, oblivious pride. And Alex, I will never forget Alex's face. He stood there, soaking it in with this sheepish but deeply proud smile. He didn't correct her, he didn't look away, he accepted it. The quiet, willing accomplice. In that instant, I didn't feel anger, not yet, I just felt nothing. It wasn't that the floor fell out from under me. It was the sudden dizzying feeling that there had never been a floor at all. I was just free-falling in their story, and I had been falling my whole life. The cheap Prosecco in my mouth tasted like battery acid. I didn't make a scene. I went on autopilot, smiled for 20 more minutes, let people hug me. Then I found my mum, said I had an early flight, and left. The drive home was just the hum of the tires on the road. The next morning, I woke up with a cold clarity. I drove to their house. I didn't call. They were in the kitchen, drinking coffee. I walked to the table and placed my dissertation down between them. The thud on the oak table was the loudest sound in the room. They both stared at it. "This," I said, my voice dangerously calm, "has 312 pages and my name on the cover. It represents 190 days of my life." Alex's contribution was a text message that said, "Good luck. Your contribution, Mum, was a lifetime of telling me I probably couldn't do it." There it was, the script. Her voice started to rise. "You are being so dramatic. After everything we've done for you, no." I cut her off. For the first time in my life. "The performance is over. I get it now. You don't need a daughter. You need a supporting character for the star of your show. I looked at Alex. And you love the role. I didn't wait for an answer. I didn't want an apology. An apology would mean they understood, and they never would. I turned around and walked out. In my car, I blocked their numbers. 1, 2, 3. Then I opened my photos and started deleting, watching their smiling faces vanish from my life. It's been a year. The silence was heavy at first. Like an amputation. You keep reaching for something that isn't there. There's a grief in mourning the family you deserved, but never got. But now, it's just quiet. It's the sound of my own thoughts. The sound of my own life, on my own terms. And that sound is better than any applause they could have ever given me. In a family conflict like this, would you choose to break the silence or endure it to keep the peace?